sports fans? ASMR Sports back with you with another Antique Mall video extravaganza. I recorded this a few weeks back. I haven't had a chance to do the editing, which is quite a bit more involved with these kinds of videos than with my normal content. So apologies for the delay, but happy to share this with you guys. This Antique Mall is in Moorhead, Minnesota. The last one I went to was in Fargo, and those are neighboring cities. But this one is in a different state, technically speaking, and this one is quite a bit bigger than the last one that I went to. Well, I wouldn't say quite a bit bigger, but I would say quite a bit better and more stocked on the sorts of items that I'm interested in, which is like basically vintage toys and sports cards of all kinds, which typically would be older, kind of junk era stuff. So I don't know. I think you'll probably enjoy this particular Antique Mall quite a bit more than the last one, because I certainly did. And I actually have not been to this one that I'm going to go to here today in probably, I don't know, maybe I want to say maybe it's been a year. And I have to say I was pleasantly surprised with the volume of stuff that I was interested in at this one. So I think it's actually improved a fair bit since I last went to it in terms of content. So that makes for a good video, I think, and hopefully you guys will find this interesting. Going by Byte Computer Warehouse there. One time I was chatting with the owner of that place. They basically just make custom PCs. Like you can pick out your specs and stuff online, and they'll build it and send it to you. And I was chatting with him, a few years back now, and he had a Porsche 911 GT3 that was very interesting to me, because I've always been a fan of Porsches and had never actually driven one, but I took that one out for a spin with him. And I have to say, I have an electric car. We have a Tesla, and I don't know. the Porsche just seems like it's working real hard to get any kind of speed. I obviously didn't push it or anything, even remotely. So I didn't really get a sense of its power. But my feeling was after that test drive, was that I wasn't like that excited. I still think they're beautiful, cars, and the aesthetics of the exterior are really tough to beat. But in terms of driving experience, I guess I wasn't hungering for more. So here we are. Big Antique Mall sign. They're actually closed Mondays and Tuesdays. But I was out here, I don't know, it was like a Thursday, I think. And I'd come out once before on a Tuesday and realized my mistake. So in we go, and straight to the goodies. This is a dealer right towards the front that seems to have a good amount of sports card stuff. Most of it is not super overpriced, but also not really anything tempting me, like 89 Fleer cello packs for $3 and wax packs for $3 is overpriced. Those 93 baseballs would be nice if they were Series 1, but they were Series 2. I think this is the same guy as well, and has some older stuff, some coins. An 87 Topps rack pack for $10 is like insane. So I wanted to zoom in and show you guys some of the pricing there. Looks like there's a 90 Fleer rack pack underneath it for $5, which is also insane. Currency is always fun. I wish I knew more about currency, because I would like to collect it, but haven't really had time. This little box of miscellaneous wax packs is on the top of the display here of the guy's stuff I just showed you. And there were some interesting things there. I think these were $1 a piece, which, frankly is pretty reasonable, I think, for, this kind of stuff. Definitely not what it's worth, but for $1 you could have a lot less fun. Now I noticed these kind of repacks here. I don't know what year they're from, but it says every pack has a 92 Bowman in it, and actually 92 Bowman was a pretty solid set. It was quite rare, and relatively speaking, the stuff in that era, and has some value. This one has a 93 Bowman card, and it's. I was very tempted to get those and see what they were containing, but I don't know. I just felt that it's probably just a bunch of commons, so probably should pass on that. And I did. So you see a lot of antique type stuff at a mall like this. And that's what we have at the top of that case, but then towards the middle there's a few sports card items. There's some old Garbage Pail Kids, they're I'm sure overpriced. Some Beatles cards, and I think this guy also had some coins and stuff. That we'll maybe get a look at in a little bit. Looks like there's some baseball memorabilia and some old tobacco cards, some non-sport tobacco cards that kind of caught my eye, since I think there are baseball players in that particular set. And just more kind of antique tchotchkes, some older non-sports cards from probably the 40s or something like that, maybe 30s. So here we have a toy dealer, and they have some of these Power of the Force Star Wars toys. I think are from like 94, 95. They really don't have any value. I had a bunch of them at one point and looked them up, and they were like worth less than what they cost at the time. So not a great investment there, but fun to have, the main characters, Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and stuff. Lots of coins with this particular dealer, some old fishing lures, and just a handful of baseball cards here and there at, a good number of these dealers, but some of the dealers just had a ton of cards. We'll see those towards the end. Here we have another toy dealer. I'm looking for like, older Star Wars toys, but these are all, kind of like 2000s era toys that I don't really understand why they're in an antique shop, but I mean, I guess they're from properties, from brands, from movie series that existed back in the 70s and 80s, but the products themselves are, clearly modern. So I don't know if they're just trying to like fool people, or if they consider that, I guess, fair, subject matter for a place like this. And then next door to that toy store right here, you see a bunch of movie posters, and I'm sure these are all, again, newer, reprint posters, but they had some really sweet ones like the Goonies. $16, not crazy. If you ordered something like that online, it would probably be expensive to ship because it'd have to be rolled up. And those are odd things to ship, so they tend to cost a good bit. They had a few other, I think they have the Karate Kid. This one's the Back to the Future original poster for the first movie. So a bunch of stuff here we're gonna see. There's Cobra Kai, and then behind it is one of the posters for the original Karate Kid movie, and I've got an original, well, not original, but like a reprint of the first, the original Karate Kid movie somewhere in my house. I think it might be kind of beat up, but those posters are pretty interesting. I'd consider buying them and putting them up if I had like a home movie theater space or something to put down. And here we have some older magazines and toys that I think are actually, period authentic, which is fun. And this guy had just a ton of things, and those are all original, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi figures with the, those are open, but they have the, the card that goes behind them, along with them, which is kind of neat. But I don't think really makes them particularly valuable. And the prices on these seem pretty high, but, I have no real sense of what they should be. So, anyways, inside here you see, again, more kind of Power of the Force era toys that are kind of neat. I have a Power of the Force era, like Millennium Falcon, I think. It's a Millennium Falcon, yeah. And pretty sure there's one of those Darth Vader like figure carrying cases that it seems like everybody on Earth had at some point in the 80s. Just lots of miscellaneous toys, none of which seem old to me, and some of which actually are quite like that. Force Awakens is like very new. That however is looks like an original speeder from, oh no, I take that back. Look at that, copyright 1995. That's why I actually looked at that, because I wanted to see if that was original. And it sort of fooled me once and actually fooled me twice, so shame on me. But yeah, not the original item from back in the 80s. And just lots of little miscellaneous toys. I am sure this guy goes to like local garage sales and buys every toy he can see, and then puts it out for sale here, probably for really inflated prices. But you can see Rebel Toy Box is the name of this guy's business, and he's got a website there if you wanted to check that out. I feel like I checked it out and it doesn't really have anything for sale. Maybe he might have a link to like his eBay page. Here's more modern Star Wars figures, Micro Machines. Nothing really particularly interesting or valuable, but fun to see. And then over here we've got some older original NES Nintendo games with no booklets or boxes, but some pretty sweet titles there. Star Tropics and Tecmo Bowl. Pretty cool titles. Friday the 13th in one of these original kind of like rental cases you could see from movie rental places that rented games. A whole box of Game Boy Advance. I actually have a Game Boy Advance somewhere in my house. I think I probably have like 2 games for it at this point. This Super Mario Brothers lunchbox, which I think we'll get a closer look at, seemed pretty interesting to me. See if I can see it says 1988, so it's, pretty far back. Obviously Super Nintendo or Super Mario Brothers existed from like 85 or 6 or something like that. But 1988 was definitely, kind of a time when Super Mario Brothers was at its peak popularity. So I don't know. I was thinking pretty hard about picking that up, and I don't know. Still might go back and get that at some point if I'm back in the area. This little booth here, I've bought things from before. They tend to have like a lot of little, kind of box sets like this, or even like larger, flagship top sets from the late 90s that, only had like, I think like 300 cards in them. And some of them are kind of fun, I thought. So, a while ago I did a video where I opened several, like this Top Stadium Club members only football. I purchased that, opened it on a video, and it was pretty fun to see kind of what was in there. I thought anyways, for $3. I mean, how can you go wrong, right? So I put that one aside. I also ended up picking up this one right here, 85 Downrest Highlights. So if you haven't seen that video, you can see me opening these up. And actually, that highlights one was pretty sweet. It had a bunch of pretty cool cards in it, I thought. I mean, really no value there, but sort of back in the day, had some pretty sweet names. A bunch of, Dwight Gooden rookies in there. My knuckle cracking, by the way. And then a bunch of these kind of Toys R Us and Tops, like store sets that you would often see in like Walgreens. And I used to get these things in Ben Franklin. Is that Ben Franklin in my hometown, and they always had those Fleer kind of 30 card sets. Some of these are still sealed. It's funny because Don Mattingly is my favorite player, and he's in just about like every one of those sets from Fleer. Here's what I thought was going to be pretty interesting. It was some sort of like aftermarket Donruss, 92 Donruss product that ended up just being literally a bunch of commons. Like they were commons back then, they're commons now. They're just trash, but it's a few bucks, so I thought I would pick that up, and that was the other item that I opened on that video that I mentioned. So yeah, some of these other sets are kind of interesting to me, but I've seen just about all of them before, and I don't know, I didn't think it was worth it to pick them up and go through again, at least not for me to see personally, since I've already seen them. Over here is a booth that I actually know is owned by a friend of mine who's a dealer that used to have a card shop in town, and does a lot of the card shows. So I have bought stuff from this before. I've bought lots of stuff from him, kind of in person-to-person transactions. I thought about maybe picking up one of these boxes, but I frankly have just about everything in here that was of interest, except like that collector's choice I would not have. And actually, in hindsight, that seems like a pretty cool product that I might want to dig into at some point if it's still there. And this like 94 Stadium Club Series 1 seemed kind of interesting to me too, but it was a little bit spendy for something to just buy for fun and rip on like a video. So I didn't pick it up, but a lot of times this antique mall has sales where like everything is 20% off. And that would be a time to maybe go back and check that booth out to see if some of that stuff is still there, and pick it up at the discounted price, which I think is a pretty reasonable number. Some older hockey packs, which is funny because that first booth that I saw when I came in had some older hockey packs, and so did this one. They were some of the very same ones. So what are the odds of that coincidence? All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There's another scintillating walkthrough of a local antique mall. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun checking this place out. It's always kind of wacky to record stuff. I'm always like wondering if anybody will care, but nobody ever really does. So yeah, I hope to go back to this one maybe in a month or two, see what kind of new stuff they have. If they have one of those sales, I'll probably go back for that. Unfortunately, I'll be pretty busy if they do have one of those sales, so hopefully it'll be as easy to record as it was this time around. But that's what we got for today, folks. I hope y'all doing well. We'll see y'all